All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Sunday, August 10th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video, taking you to all of my final plays so I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to fade me, all of that is absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of yesterday, yeah, kind of a weird one. We only end up having two final plays on a pretty damn big slate. We got a couple comments being like, wow, all that for two plays. I didn't want to force anything. These are the only two that I really liked. The Joe Adell, we liked the plus money. Not exactly the best look. We'll talk about that in a second. And then the Royals, my favorite play of the day, actually ends up coming through. That Joe Adell one, I will say, we have to add him to the do not bet graveyard, right? He is there in one of the head zones. We have Gallen, Swansby, and Joe Adell. If Swansby qualified, we have to say Joe Adell did too, because 2 times in a row we took him for hits, runs, and RBIs, and he goes deep. So again, him and Swansby, it's like the absolute jinx we have taking their unders. But nonetheless, a one-on-one night. Nothing that I'm going to complain too much about, but that was a bad Joe Adell look. In terms of the ride of the day, Relly knows the rules. Got to drop the womp there. Cleveland and Chicago over. That was a low-scoring game. Still a good look. I liked the spot here, but unfortunately, the ride of the day has not come through for Relly, who's been awesome in the community so far. So no harm, no foul. Just a lost bet, which we do all the time, right? If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. I posted on my Twitter/X right there so the community can kind of ride with one play. If you do win, we continue to roll and ride with your play. You get on the tracker here as well. You can see Relly right there with the loss. If you do win, we track you, right? If you unfortunately lose, you still get the shout out, but we got to drop the womp like we saw today. So get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. It is up for grabs. Let's see who we are rolling with today. But what do you say we go ahead and dive into game number 1 here, guys? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into it here. We have Minnesota taking on Kansas City. Just kind of briefly talked about this matchup. It was our favorite look yesterday and came through for us. On the mound for Minnesota today is going to be Jose Urena, who's pitched for a couple different teams, or a few different teams so far this season. He has 10 outings, 3 starts. Hasn't looked phenomenal, 5.24 ERA. Nothing's all that tremendous, right? Going up against Ryan Bergert, who honestly has looked pretty consistent. Seems like he's going to give you 4 to 5 innings of 1 to 2 earned run baseball, which I think might be enough to lean towards the Royals today, as I don't necessarily trust Minnesota's offense either. Yesterday, the Royals scored 2 runs. Minnesota put up a goose egg, you know what I mean? So I do think that this could be a spot in which we look at the Royals. I like the idea of an over just because, you know, you have Urena on one side and then even Bergert, who isn't this ace, on the other. But I did already kind of mention my concerns with, you know, Minnesota's offense overall. But Bergert's going to throw a lot of sliders. That's actually a pitch that Minnesota's been hitting fairly well, so maybe they can kind of contribute to this. And then I also take a peek at Salvador Perez over 0.5 singles. We have a really good pitch mix rating for him today. He's going to see, you know, the sinker, the changeup, the slider, all of those pitches he hits really well, including that sinker. 14.1 runs above average number there in terms of him last 30 days against the sinker. So I do like the spot for him. He is 2 for 6 in his career here off of Jose Urena. No singles, but still don't mind that. He's batting 264 against righties compared to 251 in the year, and Urena against right-handed bats 394 batting average balls in play, 357 batting average against. So I do think Perez could have a decent game today. The problem is, and we say it all the time, we take these singles plays. A single, he hits a home run, a double. It's like we called the player right, but unfortunately that does not cash. It needs to specifically be a single, and I like that because it's got the most manageable odds at -110. All right, next on the board, we got Pittsburgh taking on Cincinnati. Cincinnati coming out of a 2-1 win yesterday. Both of these, or all 3 of these games, I guess, so far in this series have been a little weird, right? 7-0 in game 1. Cincinnati then loses 3-2, and they finally bounce back with a win with a 2-1 victory yesterday on the back of Nick Martinez going 7 innings. Today, we have Mike Burrows on the bump here for Pittsburgh. He's going up against Zach Littell for Cincinnati, who looked really good in his first red start, I should say. I will still think that this Reds team is the better offense, okay? But I don't think they're that much better. I think we're learning that. And what we've said all year long about the Reds is that they'll go on these little runs of really high scoring and then have ruts of low scoring. And that's where I kind of see us here today. But the biggest thing that puts me over the top here is the fact that this was a spot in which yesterday, Pittsburgh did, in the last two games, Pittsburgh did kind of show that, yeah, we aren't going to be scoring 7 runs a game like we did in game 1. And I think that this Reds team can kind of bring some more guys on with a potential starting pitching advantage with Littell on the mound. So I guess, yeah, those are two of the biggest things. Give me the Reds, but I also don't mind the under. That's kind of important to address here too. I say the Reds are the better offense, but I'm still acknowledging that maybe they're not all that great right now. So this could be a low scoring game, but I lean towards the first 5 under, because both of these bullpens have, I would say the high leverage arms on Cincinnati's side of things. Pagam and Santillan both pitched yesterday, 19, 18 pitches. Santillan pitched 20 and then 19 back-to-back, so I don't think we'll see the setup, man. And then on the Pittsburgh side of things, a bunch of guys, I think it was 4 or 5 guys out of the bullpen pitched yesterday. So first 5 is where I could see this, but, if we have some meatballs being thrown in the late games, yeah, maybe that 8.5 kind of disappears. Another spot I'm looking at here, and I believe that this is a quick typo. Let's see if we can fix this really quickly. Is going to be Andrew McCutchen. Boom. Missed a C. Under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's going to see a few different pitches here from Littell. He's going to see the fastball, splitter, slider, and sinker. While I'll give you that the slider is the most common pitch he's going to see, and that is a pitch that he actually hits fairly well, it's the only pitch he's hitting well right now. He has negative numbers across the board in terms of runs above average against the fastball, the splitter, the sinker, and even when you get into, like the cutter and the changeup and that type of stuff. So really not looking all that phenomenal right now. For minus 110 spot, I don't mind his under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Hopefully, just hopefully, he's not going to be joining these guys because we took his under and all of a sudden he goes off and hits a home run today. That would be damn depressing. Guys, before we do move on with the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Underdog. They're doing a cool thing. They did this in July, and they brought it into August. If you sign up today, you will get a randomized gimme pick, which is pretty damn cool. You get a pitcher like 0.5 outs or something like that, essentially a free square. Go ahead and check it out. I have a link down in the description as well as the pinned comment, or sign up using code GUYBOSTON. You're going to get this gimme square, which will just boost the payout of anything that you put it into, right? But you're also going to get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. Go check out Underdog. When people ask me what is the best thing about it, I say it's pretty damn simple. Their interface, their app, whether it's on the computer, whether you're on a tablet, whether you're on your laptop or desktop, anything, their interface and how quick and smooth things run is unmatched. It is absolutely awesome, guys. Go ahead and check it out. They also run a bunch of different deals and cool, unique promos as well, like a lot of these DFS apps do. So go check that out, guys. Link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Get your free square today. Add it into a slip, and you're going to get a nice little payout boost there. Next up, we have the Yankees taking on the Astros. Max Fried on the mound going up against Jason Alexander. While you do look at Jason Alexander's, recent starts, he doesn't look all that terrible, but it's still Max Fried. And I know there's a lot of tax that comes with this name, but I don't want to take away from the fact that even though Max Fried has struggled on his standards and whatnot, he still is the better pitcher in this matchup. I know Jason Alexander really shut up a lot of people in his last outing, 6 innings pitched against Miami, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 0 earned, right, on only 3 hits. So very good for him. I don't want to take that away, but I still would push that Max Fried's the better pitcher in this matchup. I think what we look at is kind of just trusting that. Yankees first 5 run line, maybe their team total over 2. Do I think that this is a bad bullpen in Houston? No chance whatsoever. That being said, if they kind of get with, if they kind of start building momentum, I feel like this Yankees team is just waiting to start to open up the offense, right? And you might be able to say they are. When they were going, 5, 7, 12, and all of a sudden they had a little bit of a drought of 0, 3, 0 runs. Now they might be building that back up, and they do have a pitcher on the mound that I don't trust up against them. So Yankees team total over, Yankees first 5 run line is all I'm looking at in this one. I will strongly say right now, those are both leans. I don't necessarily know how close they are. If this is a lean and this is a final play, I don't know how close it is to getting to there. We still want to dig into a little bit, but I feel the need to trust Max Fried in this spot, and then also recognize that maybe, just maybe, these Yankees bats are starting to look good. Maybe that, home run yesterday kind of gets them going from Grisham. But even want to clarify, think about how many times I just said maybe, right? I think that that's very important to note. All right, Baltimore's taking on the Athletics here. We have Cade Povich on the bump for Baltimore, going up against Luis Morales, who only has a couple innings of MLB, majors work in his career, but they did come this season, in that he went, I think it was a couple innings pitched against Arizona. Yeah, here we go. 1 earned run, 3 hits, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Nothing all that tremendous, right? The 22-year-old was really, really young. I don't necessarily know how that's going to stack up against Cade Povich, who I was a pretty big Cade Povich guy, then kind of got off the train at the right time, and even still, he comes back after, a couple months, and 5 2/3 against Philadelphia, 4 earned, 7 strikeouts, a little bit better, but still not all that great. 1 walk, 2 home runs let up, so we probably see some runs here in this one. I'm going to lean towards the over. I can't fully see myself getting right behind Luis Morales, not knowing too much about him, so I'm going to lean towards Baltimore here. But I will note, it's going to be upwards of 90 degrees with wind blowing from right to left field. Might see some extra runs in here that maybe shouldn't even have gotten out of the ballpark and that type of thing. So I don't mind the over, especially with, it looks like Ballpark has it at a plus 12% run index today. So I think that might be a safe look. But again, like, you are still trusting offenses that can definitely be up and down. I know the Athletics scored, 1 million yesterday, but they are capable of dropping kind of a little bit of an egg. In Baltimore, very much in the same boat. Like, what we can give Baltimore right now is they're becoming a little bit more consistent than they were at the beginning of the year. But they're kind of consistently, and we keep seeming like we're on the wrong side of this, because every time you think they're about to step it up, they're kind of consistently giving you like 3 or 4 runs, which is not going to always win you too many games. And no player props in this one. A lot of volatility, I think, especially with the pitching. Atlanta taking on Miami. Now, note both these teams played in the doubleheader yesterday, right? Atlanta won 7-1, then they win 8-6 on the back half. So Atlanta now has taken 2 of those, or they did take 2 of those in a row. So I guess credit to them. Here we have Joey Wentz going up against Cal Quantrill. The weird thing for me in this one is, do we really trust either one of these guys? And if we say no to that, we just mentioned volatility. A lot of volatility comes into this one. I will say, because I think it's somewhat of a toss-up, to some degree here, I guess the spot that I'd ultimately end up looking at would be a Marlins spot, because you're getting plus money behind them. You know what I mean? So I guess I'll lean Marlins, but it really is like I guess, because Cal Quantrill had looked pretty damn good until his last start against Astros, and they absolutely torched him. 4 1/3, 9 hits, 7 earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 home runs. The 3 starts before that, he went 5 and 6 innings pitched, 1 earned through the entire 16 innings there. So he had been looking okay. Joey Wentz, I guess you could say similar volatility, right? Shut out Kansas City through 6 2/3. He shut out the Yankees as well, but Texas got to him. Milwaukee got to him, but those are 2 hot teams right now. So to me, this is somewhat of a 50-50 spot, because both offenses I'm not like in love with. The biggest thing you can probably say if you like the Braves today, and I'd give it to you, right, is that Joey Wentz throws with his left arm, which seems to be a little bit of Miami's weakness. So if that's the case, then sure. But I think this is a 50-50 spot, and if that's the case, I'm taking the plus side of it. But I like the over as well, because I don't necessarily trust the bullpens all that much. Atlanta threw like legitimately every arm in their bullpen yesterday. Makes sense because of the doubleheader, and a lot of arms were thrown from Miami as well. So I think that we could have 9 full innings of potentially some runs being scored here. My one concern is, did they empty the tanks yesterday, right? Atlanta certainly may have. So Marlins in the over for me in this one, but I think it's just kind of stemming from the volatility of what we may see from the pitchers. Detroit taking on the Angels. Yesterday, the Angels take a win, 7-4. That was somewhat surprising, I guess, but not when we even thought Joe Adell was going to have a bad game and he hits a home run. So I guess that we really didn't see that fully all the way through. That being said, it was Kikuchi. This Angels offense has been looking good. The over did hit, so there were some things that I think that we kind of saw clearly in that one. Today we've got Jack Janowitz on the mound. He's going up against Casey Mize. Casey Mize, I would put in the category of having the advantage here, but Janowitz has had some really good starts lately. It's just he's not throwing together anything too consistent. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers. Some of the better bats in that lineup, especially at the top, do hit the sinker fairly well. You have, Wenzel, Perez, and Torkelson kind of in the middle of that lineup hit the sinker well, but Kerry Carpenter hits the sinker really well. Colt Keith hits the sinker really well, and that is Kachanowicz's main pitch, so I fear some of those bats. Casey Mize has been pretty good at home. He has struggled against righties. You can even see via our dashboard here. This is him right here against righties. There's a ton of righties in the lineup today, so that could worry me. I do think this is a spot in which I like Detroit's offense, and I think that that's what gets the job done, so I'll lean towards the Tigers. I mean, they're juiced through the moon right now, so we got to see what those odds come to, but I don't mind the idea of their team total over. Say you have to go, 4.5 for anything around, I would say, minus 130. That's probably something I'm okay with. I'd also take a peek at Kerry Carpenter. Last time we actually rolled with the final play here, he did not have a hit run or RBI, but he's still averaging 3.5 over his last 10. He's 3 for 6 in his career against Kachanowicz with 3 hits and 2 RBIs, striking out just 16.7% of the time. His batting average against righties this year jumps up to 275, WRC plus 135.1, and then against left-handed bats, Kachanowicz 295 average against. Home runs per 9, he's letting up 2, and a WOBA of 275. So I like the spot here, and like I mentioned, that sinker is really the pitch that I'm looking at. Kerry Carpenter, and this is not a typo, has a runs above average against the sinker at 30.4. Are you kidding me? I think this might be a spot in which we have to consider today. But again, it's going to have to come on the back of Detroit scoring a fair amount of runs because we want runs and RBIs and all that jazz from him. White Sox taking on the Guardians. You have Cleveland, who has been one of the hottest teams in the league right now, going up against the White Sox, who have lost, I believe it's, 6 straight games, 7 of their last 10. Slade Ciccone on the bump here for Cleveland, who's been pretty damn consistent. I mean, you throw out that one start against the Athletics, he's giving you 6 innings, sometimes more, of 2 earned baseball, which any team would take on their squad, right? He's going up against Davis Martin, who's definitely been a little bit up and down. He's coming off a start against Seattle, 7 hits, 2 home runs out of those 7 hits, 5 innings pitched, 5 earned, 6 runs actually came in. Last time he went up against this Cleveland squad, which was a couple years ago, 2024, so last year, I guess, 3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 home run. So not all that tremendous. I think for me here, I'm going to trust Slade Ciccone. I think that he's by far and away the better pitcher and pitching pretty damn well right now and pitching deep into games. Pitching deep into the games is pretty important for me because if we like the Guardians on the money line, it is important to note that Cade Smith went 2 of the last 2 days, so 2 days in a row. They're closer now. Hunter Gaddis, 18 yesterday. Sabrowski pitched 31 in the last 2 days. 14. Good, got that bad. Got that backwards. Enright pitched. So their bullpen has definitely used some arms. It's a really good bullpen at times. I think that those guys could use some of them at least if they needed to, but hoping Ciccone can give us 6-7 innings and the bullpen gets a little bit more manageable, right? Also, don't mind the idea of the White Sox team total under. I do understand that the numbers would say that they are actually one of the better offenses lately. I can't sit here and really put too much stock into that. We know that this offense isn't all that tremendous. So, yeah, it's going to be Guardians. I like that more than I do the White Sox team total under, but I think the Guardians could win this one, 5-3, 4-3, something like that. I don't think that they absolutely go off offensively, but they are just playing some really good under-the-radar baseball right now. Speaking of playing good baseball, you have the Brewers here who have just been absolutely crushing it. They've won 8 straight games. They're also 9-1 in their last 10, and even if you extrapolate that to a bigger sample size, it looks even better. This team had 72 wins on the season. Today we have Quinn Priester. He's pitching against, I believe it is Sean Manaea. Manaea was looking okay, right, in his comeback starts, and then he didn't look all that great against Cleveland. 5 2/3, 5 earned, 7 hits, 3 strikeouts, 0 walks. I guess that's good. 1 home run was in there. Milwaukee's Quinn Priester has been fantastic. 1.8 ERA over his last 5 starts, and that includes his 5th most recent start, which if you say his last 4 starts, it's even better. He was 4 earned through, I think it was 4 2/3. But since then, 6 innings pitched. That was against the Dodgers, 10 Ks, 0 earned. 7 innings against Seattle, 6 Ks, 2 earned. 5 2/3 against the Cubs. Like, he's gone through a little bit of a gauntlet here, guys. 2 earned, 5 2/3, and then 1 earned against Atlanta through 7 innings. So Quinn Priester has been fantastic. I can't help but take a peek at the Brewers here. Similar to what we just said with the Guardians. They're playing really good baseball. I kind of want to just trust the hot hand. Both of those teams, Guardians and the Brewers, and if you guys have been watching for a while, you know that I get a little skittish about taking sweeps or betting on sweeps, but man, oh man, for the price, it feels like you're almost stealing here. Now, I like the Guardians a little more because they're playing against the White Sox, so if I did have to say one of these 2 teams that are the hottest in the league, which I would take over the other, maybe the Guardians right now because of the matchup. But still, the Mets, it's not like they're sitting here doing anything special, right? They have lost 9 of the last 10 games. So who's to say the White Sox aren't playing better baseball than the Mets? Give me the Brewers, their team total over as well. I do think Manaea could pitch all right, but even if we do get to this Mets bullpen, not all that afraid of it. They pitched 6 arms yesterday, and 3 of those arms, two or 3 of those arms pitched the day before as well. So, yeah, I think this is an easy spot to lean towards the Brewers and their team total over. The problem is, again, are we hesitant? Is it too? Are we not thinking enough about this one? I got to trust Quinn Priester, though. Give me them. All right, Texas taking on the Phillies. We have Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies, so I think that that's obviously an advantage. Going up against Patrick Corbin, who I always say this in the videos, right? Patrick Corbin gets, for whatever reason, such like a short end of the stick of what people think of him. Is he a great pitcher? No, but he's not as bad as people think. But Zach Wheeler, obviously the better pitcher in this spot, and I'm going to trust that. You can still get the Phillies inside the minus 140s. That is what I'm going to be taking a peek at here. Phillies on the money line. I will admit, Yohan Duran pitched yesterday, 16 pitches, so we might not see him, which worries me a little bit. You saw Strom as well as Banks. Hopefully, if they really need him in a pinch, Duran could pitch, but I don't know if they will. I mean, Zach Wheeler hopefully can kind of get off to a good start here, and I like the Phillies team total over because of the value we're getting. I really don't want to sit here and act like the Phillies have been hitting lefties all that well. They haven't, all right? That's a fact. But I do still think that they are the better offense in this sense because they're going to see a lot of sliders out of Patrick Corbin, and you can see here, guys, even with the sliders, where are we at here? This is the updated one. Patrick Corbin is going to throw a ton of sliders, right? Philadelphia, though they've struggled against lefties, right, we can give you that. They've been hitting the slider really, really well, and look at the names that are hitting the slider. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, Nick Castellanos, Harrison Bader, newly acquired, right? All the meat of their lineup there hits the slider pretty damn well. So I do think that this could be a decent spot for them to actually score some runs and get some value because you can right now, for like minus 140, get them over 3.5 runs. I know they're on the road. I know that, they've been struggling against lefties, but that is kind of why I think we're getting a low line. So both of those plays definitely have a chance of being a final play here. Phillies on the money line, probably more so because it is Zach Wheeler, and I do think that he is obviously worth backing here. He's coming off of, I would say, honestly, maybe a 3 to 4 start stretch of non-Zach Wheeler baseball. I think that he bounces back here. I really do. Guys, to get access to that dashboard that you just saw, all you have to do is head over to GuyBostonSports.com, head to the members area, go to the MLB dashboard. Now, I'm already logged in, so I will see it, but this is what you get. You get each and every game, every single day, the stats, the big stats that you need, the most important ones, at least that I deem, broken out in a visual format. We call it the MLB dashboard. So each and every game, everything that you need. Is it a one-stop shop? In some cases it can be, but I would encourage you to just put this into your research repertoire and arsenal, right? So go check it out, GuyBostonSports.com, head over to the members area. You have pitching stat, we have bullpen stats, we have pitch mix stats, so you know how frequently pitchers throw specific pitches. We have batting stats, batting against specific pitches. We also have, obviously, right here, these are players. We have a pitch mix rating, which we have a video about what the pitch mix rating is right here on the dashboard. If you do check it out, right here, yeah, you can see a little link to seeing. Click here for a kind of explanation of it. But guys, go check it out. If you use code DASH today, we're only running this for a couple more days. DASH, you get your first month, $2.99 a month. You might be asking, all right, well, what is the catch, right? Like, how much is it after that? It's $6.99 per month after that. I'm aware, and we get these comments all the time, and I do appreciate you guys, thinking about the support and all that. I'm aware that we could be charging a lot more for this right now, but that is the price, $6.99 per month. But if you use code DASH, you get the first month, $2.99, less than $3. Go check it out, GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area, MLB dashboard. Giants taking on the Nationals yesterday. The Nationals pulled this one out 4-2. We did lean in that direction, and honestly, I can't really victor that because we didn't even roll with it ourselves, but I wish we did. Today, I think we have a decent matchup. We have Justin Verlander pitching. He's going up against Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore, we just talked about Zach Wheeler recently, not looking like himself. Mackenzie Gore, very much in that boat. 3 of his last 4 starts, he's got hit up. 8 earned runs, 6 earned runs, 8 earned runs, 8 hits, 12 hits. He did have a really good game against Minnesota, kind of in the middle of that, 5 innings pitched, 1 earned, 1 hit, that type of thing. But 3 of his last 4 really, really bad. Verlander looks like he may have found something. He went up against I think it was Atlanta, and we actually have that up. He went up against Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh again. I don't know if it's because of the competition that he went up against offensively, but I don't think the Nationals are too much better here. So I think we're going to have a low-scoring game. I like the first 5 under. I also do think that Mackenzie Gore is still obviously very good. This is a Giants team that definitely struggles against lefties compared to righties. So Mackenzie Gore may be in a decent spot to bounce back here. So I like them, especially just because of the plus money that you're getting, right? It kind of comes down to that. Right now you can get them at plus 140. I don't mind Casey Schmidt, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's been kind of killing it lately, but he struggles against lefties. He has struggled against Gore in the past, just a 143 average against him, 1 for 7. And he's going to see a lot of curves and sliders, right, as kind of the secondary pitches, and he struggles against those. The fastball, he does hit well historically on the season, but that being said, in the last 30 days, he's got a minus 2.25 hits runs above average against the fastball. So nothing that he should see, he's seeing all the while. The only thing, and I will say, if you guys don't see this in the final plays, the Casey Smith spot, most likely because I kind of determined that I'm worried about the bullpen, right? Like, he could get up against a bullpen, a righty in the bullpen, anything like that, and just absolutely tattoo him. So first 5 under is probably my priority to get down in that game if we can get some good odds behind it. 4.5 is the number that I'm looking for. All right, let's do this one quickly because I don't think we'll have any action on it. Arizona taking on Colorado. Arizona has won both games so far in the series, 6-1 and then 6-5. I think today with Brandon Pfaadt on the mound, yeah, I guess the Diamondbacks could be somewhat of a parlay piece. I don't even know if that is worth it, though. They are minus like 250 right now, so it's not like it's going to crush the odds and boom them, right? So it's kind of a tough one, but Brandon Pfaadt against Tanner Gordon. Don't necessarily love the matchup here for Gordon. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs. That's still one of the pitches that Arizona's hitting really, really well right now, and Brandon Pfaadt doesn't have a deep bullpen behind him right now in terms of either injuries or taxation, so maybe you look at Diamondbacks' first 5 as a parlay piece, but I guess I'm essentially trying to talk everyone into not loving something in this game, just because it is kind of a weird one. But I really can't get to the Rockies. I tried that. We even went the sweep approach. Couldn't really get there. So I guess Diamondbacks maybe first 5 as some sort of a parlay piece. I apologize for blowing through that game, but look at the odds. There's not too much to do with it. All right, Mariners taking on Tampa Bay. We got Brian on the mound going up against Adrian Hauser. Adrian Hauser in his first start here with Tampa Bay didn't look phenomenal. 5 2/3 against the Angels. Now, he didn't get any run support, but still, 5 2/3, 11 hits, 5 earned, 3 strikeouts, just 1 walk, and he did let up a home run. So not exactly what you'd like to see, right? Brian Wu, who was pitching really, really well, kind of went on a little bit of a skirt, but then kind of bounced back last start. 7 innings pitched, just 2 hits, 1 earned, 9K, 0 walks against the White Sox, though. So I don't know how much stock we want to put into that. I do still trust both these pitchers. First 3 under is going to be something that I'm taking a peek at. I would say Seattle, I think, has the advantage in the later innings just because of their bullpen, and it's a big but walking around. I don't necessarily want to say that they're not taxed because Muniz went yesterday. Brash went 2 of the last 3 before that. Spear, 6 innings, but 2 of the last 3. 6 pitches yesterday, but 2 of the last 3. Same thing with Bizardo, Ferguson. Like, their bullpen's super, super taxed. So maybe Tampa Bay does have some value late in this game. We'll see, though. I don't trust the Tampa Bay bats as of right now. Yesterday, they did score 4 runs. Still end up losing the game, right? So I think it's going to be Mariners, but I think the first 300 could definitely be a play. I think that Hauser can go through the lineup one time really, really well. I love the fact that, knock on wood here, we have guys like Josh Naylor who have been obviously a nice little boost to the Mariners in terms of having another bat, but he has a really bad pitch mix rating here that we have from scorepredicts.com against this Adrian Hauser because of the sinker, and Hauser should keep the ball on the ground, right? That's what he's very good at doing. So I like the idea of the first 300, having him get some guys out early, and then whatever happens after that, almost who cares, because I do think that that's going to be our main final play of this one, but I still think that the Mariners have the better lineup, and that late in the game they may be able to score some runs, even off of the decent bullpen of Tampa Bay. Dodgers taking on the Jays. I don't know what happened to this Blue Jays offense because they've now scored after coming out of Coors, and I honestly thought that might build, even though a lot of teams do struggle coming out of Coors. They went 15, 10, 20, right, in terms of their 3 games. Now they go to LA, 1 run. Today, I would assume they do a little bit better. I'm going to lean towards the Blue Jays in the over. We have Eric Lauer on the mound going up against Tyler Glass now. Both of these pitchers are very, very good, but I'm just thinking that at some point, the Blue Jays kind of step up to the plate, and even if they score 3 or 4 runs, the Dodgers could score, 3 or 4, and we get even closer to this 8.5 total, especially against, the Dodgers bullpen, who has been known to blow some games here. This Toronto offense, I still do believe in. That's kind of the big point here. Yes, Glasnow is very good, and so is Eric Lauer, but I also would say that this is a spot in which, both offenses, you could argue, are just as good. Now, has the Blue Jays been doing that? No, but 8.5, a 5-4 game here on either side wouldn't surprise me. And the fact that we're getting the Blue Jays still at like plus 160 odds just seems like there's some value there. And I mean, I've said that a couple times now and really hasn't been, but still, to me, yes, the Dodgers are the better team. Yes, they're probably most likely winning this game, but we've already kind of talked about some of these 50-50 spots. You might as well follow the plus money there. So I think the over is something that I like a little bit more, even with 2 good pitchers on the mound, but the value should be all over Toronto here for like +1. What are their updated odds right now? I saw plus 158 or plus 159, I believe, on an exchange. Right now, they are plus 158 on Caesars, plus 162 on ProfitX. See, like, that is so tempting, but it also is kind of telling. Does that make sense? Like, they are clearly severely underdog. So let's just root for some runs in this one. All right, Padres taking on the Red Sox. Heartbreaker last night. Padres win it in extra innings, but I'd kind of already told myself, like, the Red Sox tied it up in the top of the ninth, right? So kind of already felt like an L was coming. Today we have on the mound for the Padres, it's going to be Dylan Cease, who has actually looked pretty good over his last, 3 or 4 starts. He's going up against Brian Bayo, who you can exactly say the same thing about, right? The one thing that I will say, and I can even pull it up using our dashboard in a second once we kind of get through it, is that I don't know how much I love the pitch mixes for either one of these squads. So my lean here is going to be the Red Sox at plus money. I think that they can get to Dylan Cease. He does have some decent numbers against them in the past, but still a 265 batting average against, an expected slugging 373, a WOBA of 334, and launch angle of 22 degrees. I think that there are some underlying numbers that say, hey, if the Red Sox make solid contact, we could see some, decent run scoring opportunities and whatnot from them. Now, like I mentioned, using the dashboard, you could see here, Brian Bayo is going to throw the sinker a lot. That is a pitch that this Padres team is absolutely hitting, and you can even see on a per player basis, they're hitting it pretty damn well. Over here, you have the fastball and the slider, 2 pitches that the Red Sox are hitting very, very well, especially the top of the order against the slider, and then the true good guys in the order against the fastball. So though we do have a low total here, and I totally get it, no pun intended, at 7.5 as to why, because Bayo's been pitching well, Cease has been pitching well, we have 2 decent bullpens, right? I still think that we could see some runs. Throw in the fact of the bullpen, in fact, back to the dashboard here, you can see the bullpens right here, right? These bullpens, some arms have gone, especially San Diego, the number 1 team in terms of ERA, number 2 team in terms of whip. They threw 6 guys yesterday. The Red Sox kind of sporadic through there as well. So I think that we could even see a couple runs out of the bullpen tonight. So give me the over 7.5. I also do like the Red Sox right now. Best odds you're getting for the Sox. This is not a homer pick, but plus 120, don't necessarily mind that. But I do think the Red Sox win this one by scoring off of Cease. So that's kind of why I kind of correlated to the over in a sense. I also considered, by the way, Bregman over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs because I like his pitch mix rating here against Cease. He's been hitting the slider pretty damn well, and the fastball is his next pitch, and that's pretty much all he's going to see. Couldn't fully get there, though. So that was a slight lean. Didn't even put it up on the screen. All right, Cardinals taking on the Cubs, last game of the slate. This is one where I've definitely ping-ponged back and forth. So as you listen to this, just know that you could make an argument on either side for this game. We have Shota Imanaga against Sonny Gray. I would say that you have 2 really good pitchers on the mound, so my first thought is kind of taking a peek at somewhat of an under, a first 5 under, something like that. And I have not talked myself off of that just yet at all. I have kind of talked myself into the Cubs because of Shota's numbers. You can even see here via Baseball Savant, the probable pitchers tab. Shota Imanaga, Sonny Gray. Look at this, 51 plate appearances against, 29% K rate, 2% walk rate. This is against the current roster, the guys that are actually making up the team. 160 average against, 189 WOBA, expected average 182, expected WOBA 205. Those are pretty damn good. Sonny Gray has been seen by the Cubs a decent amount, 114, and he's got some mediocre numbers, right? So to me, it's like, yeah, I guess the Cubs have a pitching advantage. But, and there's been a few big buts walking around in today's video, like I said, this Cardinals team is smacking up lefties as of right now, and I don't want to take away from that, right? So if you like the Cardinals today for the plus money, it almost aligns with a couple other games that we talked about, that this could be a 50-50 and all that. Sure, but I really do, I guess, trust the idea of what Shota's done against this team. So I'm going to lean towards the Cubs. I'm giving Sonny Gray the benefit of the doubt here with the first 5 under, because I think that he can pitch fairly well in this one, and he's coming off of a really good start against the Dodgers. I think it went 7 innings. Shota coming off of, I guess you could say, a really good outing against Cincinnati as well. I think both pitchers could do all right. Good enough to get us to a first 500. But then I think late inning here, I think the Cubs probably show up in the big moment a little bit more, especially because you're going to see a ton of righties out of the Cubs bullpen. St. Louis has not been hitting righty. So the minute Imanaga, he's a lefty, I get it. I think he could pitch well. The minute they hand it off to some righties in the bullpen, it could be all Cubs all the way. So that's what we're going to roll with potentially in that game. Make sure to keep an eye down on the final plays, guys. Really do appreciate everyone tuning in. That's going to do it for today's video. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.